Hi everyone, Emily here from Emily's Excellent Epics, and today I have for you the 2025 Mid-year Freakout Tag. Except I'm not going to freak out, it's okay. Whatever has been read, whatever still needs to be read, still needs to be read. If I freak out over it, it will stress me, and reading is my relaxation. It should not be stressful, it should be fun, right? So, I am taking the questions I found off of a website. The website I found was A Literary Escape. I don't know who originally created it. This tag has been around for years and years and years. So, and I originally wasn't going to record one, and then I realized, let's hop on the bandwagon. So I know I'm recording this July 15th, July 16th. I really don't know what date it is because I'm a teacher on summer break. So I am recording this mid-July, but my answers are going to be only from, I'm not going to use books that I've read so far this month, okay? So, first of all, best book you've read so far in 2025. This actually is the best book I've read all year so far. And I really don't see another book coming close to this. I've had books, 5-star reads, since I've read this book. But, so far this book, as soon as I finished it, I was like, I can't wait to read this again. And that is The Sword of Kaigan by M.L. Wong. So in this book, it's a standalone fantasy. And we are following two different characters. One is a mother. I can't remember her name. And I'm trying to find it on the back here. But so first of all, we have the son. He's 14 years old, Mamoru. And then we have Misaki, who is his mother. And so we're following these two point of views. And they are in a family where their legacy is that the family members, they can control water. And one of the things that they can do is make a sword out of ice that no sword can cut through. And so Mamoru's trying to master that. And one day war comes to their doors. And Misaki, the mother, she, years ago when she was a teenager, went to a school and she studied sword fighting and those warrior arts. And she put that aside to become a wife and a mother. But she didn't want to be a wife and a mother. And so she's coming to grappling with, what do I do now? I'm in this marriage with these children that I didn't necessarily want and ask for, and now war has come to my doorsteps. And Moore is also having to deal with war came to my doorsteps. It was just so, the fighting was so good. The discussion of motherhood and feminism and womanhood and how to grapple with a life that you didn't necessarily want, but here you are, and this is the life that you have. And as someone who's in my upper 40s, who is not married, and I don't have children, I understand that, this is the life that I have, but it wasn't necessarily wanted. And what do I do with that? It was so, so good. And I have Blood Over Brighthaven, and I cannot wait to read that as well. Fantastic. The next question is best sequel you've read so far in 2025. I'm going to give you two because they're kind of different. One is a romantasy and one is an epic fantasy. So first, Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas. This is book 5, I want to say, in the Throne of Glass series. And man, was this explosive. It was just so good. And I'm going to be honest and say that our main character, Selena, I enjoy her, but the side characters just really were forefront and really were fantastic in this book. Another just amazing book. This one gets a lot of hate as far as in the Stormlight Archives, but I really did enjoy Rhythm of War. There were some more of like the science behind the fantasy system. They were just kind of like, I could have done without. They were important, but could have done without. But man, there were just some moments that were just so good in this book. New releases I have not read yet, but I do want to read. I have not read Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I finally purchased it recently, so I do need to read this. I love Haymitch. I understand why he is the way he is in the Hunger Games, and so I'm looking forward to getting more of his backstory. I know that I'm going to be needing Kleenex as I read this book. I also want to read Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. I'm a little nervous. I loved 7 Year Slip so much last year. And then I read a novel, Love Story, which was just awful. And Dead Romantics was okay. It was good. So I'm a little nervous about reading this book. So I need to read this sooner rather than later just to see, like, is this a keeper or not? Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I'm going to be honest and say I watch other people's most anticipated release videos, but I'm not someone who's like, I don't typically hunt down and figure out like what are all the releases that are coming out. But I do know one for sure that's coming out in October. And I'm going to show the first book. And I do need to do a reread of this book just to get myself ready for it. And I'm looking forward, this is Bride by Allie Hazelwood. I'm looking forward to the next book, which is a companion novel, which is Mate. And in this world, we have vampires and werewolves and humans, and they all kind of live together. They do have like a truce, so they are all aware of each other. And so yeah, I was surprised by how much I enjoyed this one. This book came to me right at the right time. I was in a very stressful school year. And so I just needed something light and fun and enjoyable. And this was it. So I'm looking forward to Mate. Biggest disappointment. Now, I'm going to tell you this. My biggest disappointment was a 4-star read. Here's why it was a disappointment. Okay. I've had other books that I've read that were like 3 stars. They weren't disappointments in that I went into them knowing this will probably be a 3.5 star read. It will be a surprise for me if it's a 4-star read. So that's why those books aren't on my read aren't on the list as the biggest disappointment, because I already knew going into them that it would probably be a 3.5. This book, people just sung the praises of it and was like, this is a 5-star, this is an all-time favorite. So I went in with super high expectations. Or maybe not super high, but I definitely went in with high expectations. The Last Contista by Donna Barbera Higuera. Now, again, I gave this 4 stars. I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. It was just not a 5-star read for me. There were moments where I thought, where like some of the shocking twists, I was like, yep, figured that out. And I wanted the ending reminded me too much of The Giver. And so that's why I was just like, okay, we have another one of those endings, and that just kind of annoys me. I want closure, and I didn't get closure. So that's why this was a disappointment for me. But again, I do think people should read it. I think it was a well-written book. I gave it 4 stars. So, but this follows a teenager. Petra, she wants to be a storyteller. Her family, they leave planet Earth and they get placed like in a medically induced coma, like to survive, and she wakes up, and it's a dystopian. So it was good, but not as good as I thought it was going to be. The biggest surprise I don't have. Again, this book was a 4.5 star read. Maybe it was a 5-star read even. But I don't have that simply because I knew that I probably wasn't going to read it again. So I put on my Pango shop. It is already sold. And that is The Love Elixir of Augusta Stern. What was funny about this book is I read this book the same month that I read Frozen River. And The Love Elixir of Augusta Stern is a magical realism, kind of historical fiction, kind of romance, second chance romance, kind of. So we follow Augusta Stern in the 1920s, and her mother has passed away. Her father is a pharmacist. They live above the pharmacy shop where their father works, and she would like to be a pharmacist herself. Her aunt moves in to the family to help take care of them and run the household because their father's working. She and her sister are in school, and her aunt brews like potions and helps the women in her community, and is kind of a healer for those women in their community, much to her father's dismay. Fast forward to the 1980s, Augusta Stern is now a retired pharmacist, and she's moving into a retirement community in Florida where she meets up with her first love, and shenanigans ensue. It was just delightful, heartwarming, and also I felt dealt with complex issues of womanhood, women's roles. Could women work and pursue the sciences in the 20s and 30s? It was just really good, and I was surprised. Favorite new author. This would be either a debut author or a new to you author. I don't know if Road of Bones is debut. Okay, so this is definitely new to me. We're going to do Karina Moss, the Cheddar Cheese Shop series. The first book is Cheddar Off Dead. She writes cozy, I almost said cozy fantasy. She does not write cozy fantasy. She writes cozy mysteries. And in Cheddar Off Dead and Gone for Gouda, so I've read books 1 and 2. We follow Willa, who is a cheesemonger. She opens up a cheese shop, which is her dream in Sonoma Valley, and she solves mysteries with her team cheese, which are her 2 workers. One is Mrs. Stern, who's kind of like an older 60-year-old woman who's kind of like the mother to everyone. One, Archie, he is like 19, 20 years old, kind of awkward kid. And Baz is her next door neighbor, Carpenter, who's like a second brother to her. And it's just a cute series and fun. Another favorite new to me author is I've been really enjoying the Ashen series, and the first book is Road of Bones by Demi Winters. And this is a Norse-inspired romantasy series, and in this we follow Scylla, and her father gets killed in front of her, and these queen's men are like trying to hunt her down and find her and capture her. And so she's trying to escape, and she hides herself in a wagon, and it turns out to be this band of mercenaries, and things ensue from there. And what I liked about this series is she is not someone like, I feel like usually in fantasy series, the women are like, I can fight. Okay, she's not that. Or I have these powers, I just discovered them, and in like 1 week I have mastered them, and now I can be this strong warrior. She's not like that. She very much, well, she does have some powers that we learn about. She just kind of stumbles along the way and makes all these errors, and I like a realistic character. All right, then the next prompt is newest fictional crush. And I got 2. One is kind of new, but he's not really. So we're going to go with for sure new. Xavier and Say You'll Remember Me. Xavier is just a man, so he's a vet, and he just is very caring towards animals. He has had kind of a rough, traumatic past, but he doesn't let that define him. And he just kind of steps in. He sees, like, when he sees that there's a need, he just steps in and he takes care of it. He doesn't call attention to himself doing it. He doesn't say, hey, I've done this for, like, he just does it without asking, without needing recognition. It's just like, I saw a need, I fulfilled it because it needed to happen, and he will do work and do anything to make sure that his relationships will work. And so that's why I liked him. Another one, he's not new to me, but I am kind of new to crushing on him, and that's Adolin. And Adolin, I just really like how he is supportive of Shallan, and he's just kind of a golden retriever of a man. And I love that. Newest favorite character. So this isn't necessarily a crush. And I've got two from this book. And I guess one of them could also have been included on the crush. So I really enjoyed, was her name Martha? Martha. So Martha is our midwife. Gosh, she is fierce, and I love her for that. I love how she cares for the people in her life, not only just the women. She's a midwife, so not only the women that she helps birth, but also just her family. And her husband, and I don't remember her husband's name, her husband is just so progressive for that time. He is so supportive of Martha, not only just in the work and the vocation that she is called to, but he also kind of, there are times when where he might support Martha, but realizes, like, not everyone else is as progressive as you are and I am. So he kind of reins her in to avoid, how do I want to say this? Like, she wants to fight and push back against the crappy system. And he knows, like, this is not the way to do it. Like, we need to fight and push back the system, but not this way. He gently, like, he'll signal to her and not call her out in front of people, but, like, will still signal to her to make sure she's aware, like, I need to pull back, which I greatly appreciate. And he also just really helped her through some of her own traumatic experiences. And, I mean, just, he's beautiful. He's a beautiful man. Book that made you cry. Gosh, we're going to go back to this book yet again. Rhythm of War. Look, I cried during Sword of Kaigan. I cried, I think, during Say You'll Remember Me. I cry. I sobbed during Rhythm of War. And by sobbing, I mean, more than once I cried. More than once I had to stop reading, get up, go get Kleenex, and, like, actually take a break because I was crying. And it wasn't necessarily a character dying for one of the sobbing. It was just how beautifully a moment that a character had and a realization that he had to come to. That was just beautiful. All right, a book that made you happy. The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse by Charlie Mackesy, I think. This book is just so beautiful. It's short. I read it in half an hour, but it's just full of just beautiful illustrations, beautiful quotes. It's just such a beautiful book. And so many quotes that I'm like, man, I want that printed out. I want that to hang on a wall in my classroom. I want that printed out to hang on a wall. And man, if I had a nursery, this would get printed out and hang on the wall. It's just such a beautiful book. The most beautiful book that you've bought so far this year. Most books I'd just be like, they're pretty, but not. One, I really do like this cover. I think whoever is designing these covers. Who was the cover designer? Liz Marie Pompilio. She's doing a fantastic job. So this is The Undercutting of Rosie and Adam by Megan Bannon. This is book 3 in a series, and all of the covers look similar to this. So, and I just think that's beautiful. And then the front cover is okay. But here's what I don't like. I also really think Night and the Moth is beautiful. I'm not a big fan of this whole, what is this? Why is the hair covering the eyes? I don't understand that. Hopefully we'll get an explanation for that in the book, because that's just weird to me on the cover. But look how the sprayed edges are just stunning. So, and I do think this is a pretty book. I do love the covers for the Ashton series. I think they're beautiful. So this is the novella. This comes after Kingdom of Claw. So this is book 2.5 in the series. And the first 2 books I got through Book of the Month, but the novella was not published through Book of the Month. So I didn't know. And there's a part of me that's like, oh, I kind of want to get rid of those other 2 books because I love the printed hardback. Look at this. Look how pretty that is. It's just so pretty. So, but like, the other 2 books were like $17.99 and $10.99 because one was an add-on. It's like they were cheap, but I like the printed hardcover. All right, books I need to read before the end of the year. There are just far too many. But I do want to read this before the end of the year. Because Sarah J. Maas just announced that she completed the draft to ACOTAR Book 6, I have got to make sure that I continue on with Throne of Glass, and then I can read Crescent City, so that way I can then read ACOTAR 6 when it comes out. Phew! All the books I need to read. And then favorite book to movie adaptation. I'm going to be perfectly honest and say I don't go to the movie theaters anymore. I just don't. And I tend to rewatch things. So, and I tend to watch a lot of like Say Yes to the Dress, Fixer Upper. What was the other one? Zombie House Flipping, Love It or List It, Holiday Baking Championships, Spring Baking Championships, all the baking championships. Okay, so those are kind of the shows I tend to watch because I have them playing in the background while I read because I've watched them so many times. Chicago Fire. So the book that I picked for a favorite book to movie adaptation is actually the movie is coming out to Netflix August 1st. And I so desperately want to see it. I read the book a while ago, or actually I listened to the book a while ago for a book club. And the book actually was written with the intention that it's going to be adapted to a screenplay. And it hasn't happened in a while. And now it is. And that is My Oxford Year by Julia Whelan. So many people know Julia Whelan as an audiobook narrator. Well, she wrote My Oxford Year and Thanks for Listening and also narrated them. And this book, I bought this recently at a used book sale. When I saw it for 50 cents, I said, I have to have it because yes, I have listened to it, but I want the shelf trophy because it's just such a beautiful book. And I cannot wait for August 1st. I will be watching it. So this follows a woman. She is Ella Duran. She's American, and she gets this opportunity with a Fulbright. No, she gets the Rhodes Scholarship. So she goes off to Oxford to study. And on her way there, she learns that she did get this job as like a political assistant. Or she can help, not a political assistant, she can help with a presidential campaign. So she goes to Oxford because she got this Rhodes Scholarship. She wants to use it. She's going to study for a year while also trying to work on the presidential campaign. And while there, she meets a man and who is teaching her English literature course. And yeah, they have a relationship and it becomes more. It was, you need Kleenex for that one, just so you're aware. You need Kleenex. So yeah, phew, those were all the books for the mid-year freakout tag. But again, we're not freaking out because reading is fun. And if you don't get to it this year, there's always next year. The books aren't going anywhere. Yeah, let me know, what are some of your favorites from this year? Have you done the mid-year freakout tag? So what to say in the comments below. Let me know what was your favorite book this year, because I don't want disappointments. I want to know what should I check out. And as always, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the notification button, leave a comment down below. All those things help my channel grow. Thank you so much. Bye.